Hey there, race fans. It's Race Day Top 5 with me, Frank 5. Independence Day weekend, a weekend where we can celebrate our freedom. The Americans pretty much telling the Brits, we want our independence, we want our freedom. So you are going to have to accept this, or we're going to put up a fight. It's also a good time to get together and watch a good old race on road coursing and road course action in one of the most beautiful places on the NASCAR circuit in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, where we see our fifth first-time winner of 2022. Can this season get any more unpredictable? Let's talk about all that went down yesterday. Number 1, Tyler Reddick, at long last, after 5 second-place finishes, Tyler Reddick is at long last a NASCAR Cup Series winner, winning yesterday's Kwik Trip 250 presented by Jockey Made in America at Road America, winning it over Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Ross Chastain, and Daniel Suarez. Tyler Reddick has been fighting very, very hard in his Cup Series and his career to get to where he is in the Cup Series today. Let's go back to where he first began. He started driving in the Truck Series in 2014 for Brad Keselowski Racing. Brad Keselowski took a chance on this kid and brought him on and made him a part-time driver, and he showed flashes in 2014. In 2015, he opened up his first full-time season with the team by winning the opener at Daytona in very impressive fashion, and he would go on to have a solid season, finishing second in the points that year. 2016 was a little bit of a step back where they missed the playoffs, and then in 2017, he went and drove part-time in the Xfinity Series for Chip Ganassi Racing and had a couple of decent seasons and got his first Xfinity Series win at Kentucky that year. And then in 2018, he went on to Junior Motorsports driving the number 9 car and started the season in the closest finish, edging out Elliott Sadler for the victory at Daytona, and then later in the year was part of the Championship 4, won the race at Homestead, and won the championship in the process. Then the next year, he goes to Richard Childress Racing in the Xfinity Series and has a solid season. It is one of the big three with Cole Custer and Christopher Bell. He wins the final race of the season and the championship to top it all off. And in 2020, he made his move to the Cup Series, driving the number 8 car, and had a couple of good moments that season. Unfortunately, he didn't do enough to make the playoffs. Last year, he still struggled at the beginning, but then he had a strong summer surge where he had some solid runs and was able to beat out his teammate to make the playoffs in his sophomore campaign. He didn't make it to the next round of the playoffs, unfortunately, but still it was a good sophomore upgrade for Tyler Reddick. And this year with this next-gen car, suited his driving style with his dirt racing experience and like the hang loose up at the top. He's been so close so many times in his career, and of course, the first race he got a chance to try to win was the 2020 summer race at Texas Motor Speedway, finishing second to his teammate Austin Dillon. And this year, he's had so many opportunities to win. He was close at California, where he was the dominant car. He led the most laps. He won both stages, but he blew a tire out late, and he rides with William Byron, taking him out of contention. Then we go to Phoenix, where he was up at the front, battling for the win at the end with 2 other guys that were looking for their first career Cup win, Chase Briscoe and Ross Chastain. But ultimately, Reddick finished in the 3rd spot. Then we go to the Bristol Dirt Race, where on Easter Sunday, it looked like he was going to win his first career Cup race until Chase Briscoe, who had already won at that point, tried to make a dive bomb in the insides, a slide job, and slid up and took out Tyler Reddick in the process. Neither one of them would go on to win. Reddick finished second to Kyle Busch, but they both joked about it afterwards, and they said, you know, it's just hard racing, and you do what you got to do. But ever since that race, Reddick had lost 91 points from being above the cutoff line to below the cutoff line. Well, yesterday, he put it all together. He ran solidly in the top 5 all day long, and at times was continuing to pressure the road course king, Chase Elliott, for the victory. On the last green flag pit stop, Reddick got a better stop than Elliott, got up right to his rear bumper as they left the pit lane, and then 1 lap later, Reddick passed Chase Elliott for the lead with 16 laps to go, and his spotter told him, don't look at the rear view mirror, because he's going to continue to pressure you if you look back. Look forward. Well, I assume he was still looking back, but he still looked forward, and the final 5 laps, he started to continue to gap the 9 car and pull it away, praying for no yellow. It was a close call, believe it or not, with his teammate, where he blew a left front tire, but he was able to pull off into a runoff area and let the race proceed under green flag conditions, and Reddick was able to get his first career Cup Series victory, locking himself and Richard Childress Racing into the playoffs. The first win for RCR in the Cup Series since Austin Dillon's win at Texas in 2020, and it's the first win for the 8 car, a number that Reddick's driven since he joined the Cup Series in 2020. This is a number that hasn't won since 2006 at Richmond with you-know-who, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And the 8 car's first ever win in the Cup Series came at 2000 at Texas with Dale Earnhardt Jr. behind the wheel. So it's a pretty cool moment to see Richard Childress back in victory lane and the 8 car back in victory lane. And this win is just the first of many for Tyler Reddick. Now that he's officially locked into the playoffs with this win, he can go all out the rest of the way until the playoffs start. And with the unpredictability of the season, with our 5th different winner, who's to say Tyler Reddick can't win the championship this year? We saw how good he was in Phoenix. If he makes it there, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. So congratulations to Tyler Reddick and the 8 team. They are officially Cup Series winners. Number 2, Chase Elliott, looking to reestablish himself as the road course king by getting back to victory lane on a road course, something he hadn't done since this race 1 year ago on 4th of July Sunday. He was once again showing his dominance on road courses. The first couple road course races this year, he kind of had to get back into the rhythm and flow, especially with this brand new car. At the end of the Coda race, he started to progressively work his way up there and got a 4th place finish out of it. At Sonoma, it was one of the best runs he'd had in quite a while as far as the cars he had, but a pit error on the last pit stop at the end of stage 2 took him out of contention and he fell back, but worked his way back up to get an 8th place finish. This time around, this was the best car he's had as far as the road course program this year. They were dominant from the start, won the pole on Saturday, and from the start, he was very, very fast. But this 9 team did not go through that day without having some problems. Before we even got the race started, he came on the radio and said, my steering when I turn right is not exactly the same. It's like, it's just like turning at 70%. I can't turn it properly. So he had to navigate through that. But in the first stage, after that issue was reported on, he drove away from everyone by about 9 seconds. That this was really fast. Now, they pitted with that big gap they had because other guys pitted, and they wanted to keep their track position just in case, this issue would not get worse from here on out, which it appeared like it did not. But then he started developing maybe a little bit of brake fade. But the car was still very, very fast. He just dealt with a lot of stuff, but was still the dominant car, leading 36 of the 62 laps. But unfortunately, those final 60 laps got passed by Tyler Reddick. He tried to hound him at the very end, tried to get to him, tried to pressure him with everything he had. He kept trying. Unfortunately, it just wasn't enough for the 9 team. They had to settle for a 2nd place finish. Still have yet to win on a road course, but they still have at least 3 more opportunities this year to win a road course. However, Elliott, in his interview, said, I made some mistakes, which he owned up to. Sometimes, even the best road course racers make mistakes. It happened to him last year, Watkins Glen. He had a very fast car, but they started in the middle of the pack. He made a mistake when he slid the tires in the middle of the stage, and then he had to pit, and then the final stage came flying through the field. Unfortunately, he was a little too far back to try to get Larson, and it'd be a little closer in the field by the start of the final stage. He might have gotten to him, but he owned up to his mistakes. He said, we're continuing to work on it. And he even admitted the pre-race, I don't think we've got a car to win. Well, by the dominance that they definitely had a car to win. But he did congratulate Tyler Reddick because he said, I've been there before. And how fitting is it that the last driver to win his first career Cup Series race on a road course was Ross Chastain early this year. Reddick does the same thing. Chase Elliott, his first career Cup win, came on a road course in Watkins Glen in 2018. So it was a good day all around for the 9 team, and Chase Elliott continue to extend their points lead back-to-back weeks of solid runs, including that win in Nashville. The 9 team is definitely beginning to get some momentum back from where they had earlier this year before they had a 3-race slump. Number 3, the Chevys. They were so dominant. We talked about Chase Elliott and Tyler Reddick. They were the class of the field, while other Chevys showed their dominance as well, particularly Kyle Larson, who ran the Xfinity race the day prior and looked like to be the guy to win until he got passed in the last lap cleanly by Ty Gibbs. Larson settled for a 2nd place finish. Sunday, he was very, very strong at times, maybe the 2nd best car, but then he got passed by Reddick, and we knew right then and there he was the 3rd best car. But it was a good result for the 5 team after a good result the previous week at Nashville, another solid top 5 result for this team. It's only a matter of time before they get their 2nd win of the season. It's coming, and I know right now he doesn't have his crew chief Cliff Daniels at the track because of the suspension for the wheel coming off of their car at Sonoma a couple weeks prior, but the 5 team was still very, very strong on Sunday. And the Trackhouse guys, they were strong as well. Ross Chastain, of course, was the first road course winner of 2022 at Coda. He was strong all day long in the top 5, very, very competitive. And Daniel Suarez, who got his first career Cup Series victory a few weeks ago at Sonoma, a road course, was also very strong. He had to come from the middle of the field, though, to get that top 5 result. But nonetheless, the Chevys were just super strong. All top 5 cars, Chevy cars. They were just absolutely unstoppable all day long. Round of applause to all those Chevy teams and their solid results. Number 4, the bubble drivers. As the seasons begin to wind down the regular season before the playoffs start, the race to try to get in via points in case we don't get any new winners down the road is continuing to build up. And the bubble drivers were pretty much all together by the start of the race and by the end of the race at the checkered flag. The highest of them was Kevin Harvick with a solid 10th place result, which is kind of a surprise because Harvick, is kind of struggled at times at road courses, and he wasn't really good here a year ago, but he had a good result yesterday with the solid 10th place run. Unfortunately, with the Tyler Reddick win, Harvick is back outside the playoffs by 20 points. Doesn't mean he can't make that up, but obviously a win would definitely make it a lot better. Ryan Blaney, who won Stage 2 and looked to be a very good car, lost his track position by staying out while others pitted at the end of that stage. He sacrificed that first stage win, but he was able to bounce back and get a nice 11th place finish out of it. Martin Truex Jr. off of a very, very disappointing run at Sonoma, a track where I thought he was going to come flying through the field and battle for at least a win or a top 5 finish. Kind of struggled at Road America this weekend, but was able to get a 13th place finish out of it. That means it's a couple spots higher than their outing at Sonoma. So there was a little step in the right direction, but still looking for a little more speed and a little more stability in their cars at their road course program. It was just not a good weekend for the Toys in general, but he finished in the 13th spot. And Christopher Bell, who at times was in the top 5, top 10, he actually finished in the 18th spot. And he still remains over Kevin Harvick, but by only 20 points. Even, being above Harvick in points, Harvick did gain a couple of points back on Christopher Bell. But these guys were bunched together, and they know that the clock is ticking with the amount of races that we have left in the regular season. It's pretty much do or die time to try to get in victory lane and win a race to make the playoffs. Because you don't know who else is going to win that might be below you in the playoff grid. And it comes to guys outside the cutoff line, like an Eric Almirola, an Austin Dillon, an Eric Jones, a Michael Bedell has been running well late. Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Cole Custer. You don't know what the unpredictability of this car this year and what we've seen, who could win next. So these guys got to get on their A game, and they've got to put that car in victory lane if they want to make the playoffs. So they're going to have to fight hard these next few weeks, but it's going to be a dogfight when we get to Daytona. And number 5, racing at Road America this weekend. Last year, the first event here, it was a good event. We got to see comers and goers for the most part, different guys leading, and of course, at the very end, we saw the road course king, Elliott, take the lead and drive away and go on to win the inaugural, the first Cup race at Road America in a long, long time since the 1950s. This time around, it was still a decent race, but it was more so the dominance by the 9 and the 8 car. The battle for the win at the end with those guys bunched together made it a little more entertaining. There were some good battles, though, in the middle of the pack. We saw some guys spin out at the turn 5 heavy braking zone, like Joey Logano got loose underneath of Bubba Wallace and said, Logano came in the race and said, I take full blame for that. I did not mean to do that to Bubba. Tell him I feel very bad. And kind of hurt Bubba because he didn't finish the race. He had brake problems. Joey didn't have a good result either. Kyle Busch had a moment in the turn 5 area where he spun around with Eric Almirola, and neither of them had a good result. There was a couple of good passing opportunities in turn 5 under heavy braking, but most part, these guys, just like as the longer the race went on, the tire wear began to really kick in, but now a lot of guys started to fall off and let others catch back up if you were the leaders. If you were in the middle of the pack, you saw a lot of tire fall off and a lot of guys, catching up to one another when their handling began to go away and their tires were going away. So it was basically the gist of it. But I mean, it was a decent race. It wasn't the best race, but it was still a decent race. But the future of this track obviously is up for question because there's reports that we could have a street race in the streets of Chicago possibly next year. What does that mean for Road America? Ben Kennedy said we don't have an answer yet as to whether or not Road America will be on the schedule. I hope it is because it's a big venue. It's definitely, you can't see every portion of the track unless you're near a monitor where you can see what's going on in your section as well as around the racetrack. But it's still a nice, beautiful area. And the fans were packed. It's obviously 4th of July weekend. It's a great outdoor event for it. So it's a good track and it's good racing for the Xfinity Series. Cup Series, we're still trying to figure it out. But hopefully this track will be on the schedule next year. But that remains to be seen, obviously. And as I close off this video today, as I'm uploading, today is 4th of July. Today, we celebrate our independence. We may have our flaws at times, but I still consider our country the greatest in the world. We are the United States of America. I continue to support our country and our military for all they've done to allow us to have our freedoms. And I can't thank you from the bottom of my heart. I can't thank you enough for putting your lives on the line, for allowing us to be free and enjoy this day and celebrate our independence from the Brits in 1776 on this day. I really enjoy this holiday a lot, and obviously racing this weekend made it feel very much more reflectable on why we live in this country. And I just love the 4th of July. I love my independence, my freedom, and also can't go wrong with some fireworks or some barbecue. It's a good time to celebrate the 4th of July. I hope everyone out there has a wonderful 4th of July. Celebrate your independence and fly high as free birds. I had to say that. So with that being said, next weekend is racing at Atlanta Motor Speedway, or should I say Atlanta Super Speedway. The way we saw that last race in the spring earlier this year was a fun event with William Byron winning. Will he go back-to-back and sweep the race at Atlanta this year? That remains to be seen. Can Kevin Harvick regain his Atlanta dominance even with this type of racing at the track next weekend? Or will we get a new first-time winner? Possibly. Who knows? We could see Ty Dillon win next weekend. We could see Corey LaJoie, Harrison Burton. We don't know what's going to happen. Next weekend's going to be really, really fun on the, shall we say, 3rd Super Speedway race that we go to this year. It'll be a lot of fun to see what happens. Maybe we'll see Georgia native Chase Elliott get to victory lane at his home track, but that remains to be seen. But I hope you all have a wonderful 4th of July. Again, subscribe, like, and congrats once again to Tyler Reddick and the A-Team on their victory at Road America. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Have a happy 4th of July. And more importantly, let's go racing!